my intro. Boom! We in the gym. Welcome to EJ's Gym. A guide to elevate your mindset. Yeah, it's been a while, but me and Little Bro, we back on the line. We're back on the line. We're back on the line. And you know what we do? We have these interesting talks, talking about our community and our perspective and what we see going on in our environment. And potentially current events, but we may bounce around all over the place. And getting back to the thought that I was mentioning before about the neighborhoods, the gangs, and the music. I guess what's going on. But let's just say this. I want you to go in and tell me about. You can hear everything that I'm saying. I know I'm talking into the mic.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
everything you were telling me about something about the subway, a guy or marine or something
Oh,
like
yes,
that. And
yes, yes.
I'll respond to that.
Um, yes. This
This
guy,
guy.
he was recently actually released on bail too. So essentially, from what I understand, there was a situation on a subway in New York. Um, it was a dude on there. From what I understand, I think he was homeless or like of that homeless community or whatever. And then so basically, he was being loud on the subway, causing a disturbance. You know what I'm saying? And there was a dude, a young former Marine, from what I understand. And basically, he held him in a chokehold for like what 10, 15 minutes, something like that. And he ended up ending his life. He ended up killing the dude on the subway. Right, right, right. And so you could see how that becomes problematic, especially with the way things are going. Of course, the
Right.
ex-marine dude was white, and the dude that he killed was black. And so initially, there were no charges against him, and I think a lot of people were calling out to get him like indicted and stuff like that. And so they put out a warrant or something like that for him for manslaughter, and he brought himself in, so which I can applaud that, but he brought himself in, and then he recently was released on bail for manslaughter. So interesting, man. The saga continues. The saga continues.
So look, you already know. Like I'm like out there with my mind.
Okay.
If from that perspective, let's just say that, right?
Hmm.
And the first question I have is, as far as that storyline or that situation that happened.
Hmm.
Um, so that's mainstream media, meaning that's something that everybody's heard, or that's like headline news. Is that is that
Correct.
is that true?
Yeah, as far as I understand, and it's one of those situations where somebody was recording the situation, so maybe you don't see what happens before, but like it ended up on social media and stuff. So yeah, someone was recording like the situation in real time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't seen the video. I try to kind of stay away from those videos when shit like, or excuse me, when stuff like this happens,
it is what it
and
is.
it's in the news and stuff. So
Right.
yeah.
So this what I would say first and foremost. As far as the altercation, the toughest thing is nowadays, because we do live in the social media age or era where
Right.
everybody has a phone, they're recording, and they may give you what happened, or you may see the situation, what happened in real time, quote unquote, but you
Hmm.
may not get the whole context of how it happened, why it happened, how long it happened, and before, after, what was the reason why. It's so many things as you grow in this world and become an adult and understand. If you understand just life, and if you've experienced life, you understand is something has to happen in order for something to happen. I don't know,
Okay.
in basic terms, meaning, in order for me to get to my kitchen, I have to step with my left foot, step with my right foot, meaning you have to take an action,
Right.
right? So a lot of times to get certain behaviors, some people may take certain actions, and we may not know or may not ever know why that situation happened the way it did, because I'm not sure. I didn't watch the video. Are we here?
Hmm.
Can you
We
see?
good.
Can you see me?
Yes, yes, yes. What's up? You good?
Oh, my laptop just kind of went to sleep. Like it
Oh,
wasn't
like you weren't no
like I didn't
activity.
touch it or I
Yeah,
haven't been using it or something.
yeah. You might have to just shake the mouse or something real quick every
Yeah,
once
yeah,
in a
yeah, yeah,
while.
yeah, yeah. I was like, yeah, because you were still there, so it just
Hmm.
went to sleep. That's weird. Anyways, so we may not get the whole context of what really happened.
Right.
And the next thing I would say from, the way that I think is, why is are we always getting these images of, when it comes to race, white and black? Why is
Right.
that the mainstream media? Is it not other things going on in our lives where this becomes, what does it say? Or what, a viral video? So it's not
Hmm.
anything else happening out there in this world but white and black people attacking each other?
I mean, we've gotten ourselves kind of to the point where that's the things that we focus on, at least in like the social media. The people who are most active on social media, this is the kind of stuff that we or they pay attention to, however you want to put it. And so, I mean, like you said, it takes one thing to get to another kind of thing, So like, I was listening to something earlier, and somebody said every action, essentially every action, has a reason. Whether or not you understand that reason or you feel like you understand that reason and it's wrong. Like, but one thing I will say is that in terms of like outcome, the outcome of things, right? Like one person or violence, right? Violence is like there's a perpetrator, and then there's a, I guess, victim. I don't want to use the term victim, but that's probably the best term I could use. And so, what leads one person to violence is not the same thing that leads another person to violence. So it's weird that, like, it's weird that this is what's being shown to us, but it's like it's what we give energy to. So it's not like, it's tough. It's tough because, yeah, it's like you wanna aspire to better things, but it's what the energy is moving towards, I guess.
So
And I
why
don't know if that says more about the people who share it or more about the person who does the violence.
mm, it may be something that's somewhat like working together or feeds off of each other to do like I don't know what the proper analogy would be, but it,
Like
it, it works
they,
hand in hand.
right, right. But who?
Like meaning like,
Nobody
huh?
benefits. Nobody benefits from sharing, like, I guess, violence, like videos of, like, a video of somebody getting, if I'll use murdered. Nobody benefits from that. I don't. There's no net positive in that. I feel like, as far as, because even if you know, and it's like maybe precautionary, like, oh, be careful when you're on the subway, right? I don't know. Like I said, I don't feel like anybody benefits really from that. There's no, like, positive outcome in sharing those kind of things, because people, the intended outcome is to, like, seek justice for that person, from what I understand. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. That's all I can say about that.
yeah. It's
And whether or not that happens, I guess, is yet to be seen. That's like something that happens in the future.
yeah, I would agree with you that is nothing positive that comes out of that. But we live in a society that somewhat glorifies it, and I would say, ooh, I didn't say that.
Hmm.
I didn't mean to kick you out of there. Um, we live in a society that glorifies it, and I'm saying that it works hand in hand. Meaning, the more you expose people to it, the more violent it gets. Um,
Hmm.
So it is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
positive. So we've had conversation about the music, but we don't necessarily. I don't think we've had conversation about the video games and movies.
You
Maybe
know,
a
it's
little bit.
funny you said that. Yes, yes, yes. Go
You
ahead. Go
can
ahead.
go ahead. You could go ahead and speak on.
I was just gonna say, recently, it's so crazy that you said that because recently I went to go see this movie with someone, like Scream, I think Scream 6 or something. And I know you know Scream because Scream was real popping or whatever.
Hmm.
And it is, I mean, they made 6 of them, but it's funny because I was thinking like, man, this is a slasher movie, right? I just watch all these people get stabbed, and I think about it like if you're someone who watches or someone who plays video games or something like that, and like even just taking video games out of the equation, right? Because people beat that to death. But even like movies and stuff like that, like we've seen a lot of American people have seen, like, witness in their eyes, regardless of whether it's real or not, like more traumatic like events, more like people dying and stuff like that than like people who are actually in countries that are like at war right now, you know, which is crazy to think because you would like to think that you would like to think that your mind is able to separate the real from the fake in terms of like what you see. But I've read things as far as like with historical movies and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and you know, movies depicting like famous people, that is very possible for people to mix the truth with what happens in the movie, you know. And so who's to say that doesn't exist in the same way for things like trauma, like all these action movies you watching, people get blown up, people get shot, people get stabbed in these slashes and stuff like that. It's real interesting.
So the word I like to use is desensitized, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
have become desensitized because of the combination of exposure and environment, meaning what you get exposed to, what you see every day, and what people somewhat glorify in your environment, what they make normal.
Okay.
And because of, like I said, the conversations we've had about the music, we've beat that dead horse already. And the combination of, just like you said, the movie, that people they disassociate real life from the images that they see on the movie, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
realize that they're suppressing their subconscious mind. You're watching a human being get slayed and what you said, stabbed or whatever the case
Right, right.
may be, and you take it as
Multiple
think
times.
think about the correlation, right? And then you take it as entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
watching
Mm,
another human being die, right?
mm-hmm.
So let's put that in. Let's make
Yeah.
that connection with what you've seen on social media now, as far as what people are recording people getting shot, people
Mm-hmm.
getting, just like what you just mentioned on the bus. That has become the norm. This is the combination. This is what I'm telling you. Like, it works hand in hand. It's
Mm-hmm.
the exposure to the violence, right? So
Yeah.
we don't pay attention to it because this has become our norm,
Our
right?
norm.
To
Right,
watch
right, right.
movies like this as entertainment.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's crazy to think
years and
that.
years down the line now, people have become desensitized because it's called entertainment. It's not real. But what happens is, just like that, we had the little thing when art imitates life. But what happens now when life starts to imitate art? It's the reason why I wanted to do that video right there.
Hmm. And you see, I wonder if then that has a correlation with like, do you notice? Tell me if I'm wrong. Have you noticed like a uptick in, like, let's say movies being remade, and like, you know, more sequels, and even with music, like if you talk about creativity, it seems like they're digging up every sample from the 90s and throwing somebody popping on it, and calling it a radio hit and stuff like that. And I wonder, like you said, what happens when life imitates art. It's almost like, to me it almost seems like people are running out of like not necessarily running out of creativity, but just like I don't know, do maybe those things kind of are correlated. It's a little bit abstract because you're talking about like generating new ideas, but maybe the way that we're living or something like that makes it like, or if life is getting to the point where it's just as insane as the art, it kind of waters it down, you know?
Um, can you hear me? Or just making sure I'm good on the mic.
You're good, brother. You good.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. My
honestly,
bad.
honestly, I think we just live in a loop, man. It's nothing really new created under the sun. We just kind
Okay.
of, uh, I don't know, like take corn and make popcorn. You understand what I'm saying? It's still corn.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So the sound that you hear is just people always like recreating sound, and it's nothing really new under the sun when it comes to sound. So this is where you get that, and that the thoughts and the ideas as far as what we call entertainment is just people take certain things that has been suppressed in their subconscious and kind of recreate their own style and spin it their way. So I think that's what we're seeing, that loop, like history repeating itself,
Mm-hmm.
as far as music and as far as sequels go. Because I have seen a lot of that, but as I see now, like they have a lot of uh, cartoons that are totally different from the cartoons that when I was young, but they have the same titles or names like Batman,
Okay. Right,
Superman,
right, right.
the Power Rangers, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I don't know what's out there. And then of course you have your new stuff that's like a spin-off off those things. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like history repeating itself and people's subconscious mind being suppressed. And they just kind of recreate without knowing something that they've seen. Yeah, the human mind is very complex, but at the same simple and basic.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So,
It's when you talk about like entertainment, it's weird the things that entertain us because I was thinking about it, and like if you boil things down to like what the things that we buy and like where they come from, and I think you talk about this a lot too when it comes to like food and stuff like that. Like everything kind of comes from the earth, and even the stuff that like causes wars and stuff like that, and the, that causes like real problems in the world, like oil. You got to dig it out the ground, and the metal that's used to make cars comes from like rocks and stuff like that. So like a lot of the value or whatever, and then a lot of the what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of the industries that are on the side of those things, like because most things come from like agriculture, and then you got to figure out how to move it, and then you figure out how to move it faster and stuff like that, right? And everything else kind of revolves around that basic stuff. And so, entertainment, it to me is one of the only industries. Like I was thinking about it as most people create value basically by pulling that value out of the earth, right? But
mm,
entertainment is one of the only things that's like it's genuinely like human generated, and it's for our own sake. Like it doesn't really, I used to think of entertainment as like kind of not having any value per se, like it's not necessary, but it's the one of the few things that's like created by us for us kind of thing. Because really, if you sell like you said, like if you sell somebody an apple, you didn't just make that apple out of thin air, you had to go somewhere to get it. The entertainment, you know what I'm saying, comes from here, like ideas and stuff like that. There's not too many other industries that are not dependent on some other resource or some other like entity. I don't know what that means. It's,
well, I mean, so what that means is that entertainment is just human thought. You know,
mm-hmm.
human thought and human thought. It can be human thought in many ways. It can be the human mind being idle. trying to find something to do, trying to find something to create. It can be the human thought trying to express themselves, like self-expression. And it may be human thought trying to persuade people of an idea, of a product, of So it's human thought in a lot of different forms.
Hmm.
So that's basically what the entertainment is. Thing is, man, things can be used in a way to serve people, or it can be used in a way to destroy people. And then you have your right in the middle, like we talked about off camera. Where it kind of sways like both sides type deal. You know what I mean? Because that rain that falls out of the sky can serve you, but that same rain can fill up an ocean and drown you at the same time.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it has its good, bad, in the middle if you want to have that type of perspective. So that's how I look at entertainment. And honestly, that's how I look at everything in the world. That the good, the bad, and the in between. And it's always really in between. It's just the mind and how we use it. You know, The the mind, when I say the mind and how we use it, is basically how you're viewing things. That's why I like to say perspective a lot. Because I can say something, but you may not see it the same way or receive it the same way that I may receive. You get what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think I'm kind of just trying to tie it back into like
Well,
that blurred line of like entertainment and viewing like the destruction of people as a form of entertainment.
mm, I think
Like,
it's a conditioning. I don't believe naturally that we're like that, but I believe you can
hmm,
always condition people to be a certain way, and if people don't question status quo, then this is how you condition people like me.